Late Night Talking by Harry Styles. A little bit too relatable, if you ask me.
Yeah, we've all kind of been there. You know, talking into the late night hours, getting into our sad boy hours.
Right, end up kind of oversharing sometimes. You're feeling a little bit vulnerable, so you're like just spilling it all out. And you're connecting a lot with this person, right? Sometimes you wake up the next day, though, and kind of regret that you told them so much. Or maybe you feel like now you're super, super connected, and it's been such a short amount of time, but you shared so much with them. It reminded me and Tab a little bit about emotional boundaries.
Emotional, damn it!
Oh, that's good. Let's get into that.
Okay, so this video is gonna be about boundaries. Now, we all know boundaries are really, really important, but there's actually lots of different types of boundaries. Emotional is just one of them. We're gonna talk about 5 different types of boundaries in this video, so you're gonna wanna stick around.
On our channel, we talk a lot about relationships and a lot of times tie in pop culture references. So if you're a young adult or a teen, this stuff is all really going to be relevant to you. So you're going to want to go ahead and subscribe and watch some of our other YouTube videos.
We have 5 types of boundaries that we're going to dive into today.
Digital, physical, emotional, social, and financial.
So some of these maybe you've heard of before, but some of them are also probably new to you. And it's really important for us to dive into all 5 of these categories because the culture we live in, like pop culture, movies, TV shows, music, loves to romanticize like obsessively jumping full into a relationship and like having no boundaries at all.
Right, like it loves to normalize being impulsive and just doing whatever makes you feel good in the moment, but not really thinking about down the road. Is that the healthiest or wisest option for you?
So these boundaries we're going to discuss are going to help you figure out how to still have fun in a relationship, but still protect your future self as well if things don't really work out with this person.
Our first one is digital. We're talking Snapchat, FaceTime, Be Real, Instagram, locations, passwords, everything that has to do with the internet, phones, etc.
So the big thing with digital boundaries is that people have a lot of different expectations, what they're comfortable with, what they expect from someone else. So we're not really here to tell you what your boundaries should be, but really we just want you to start thinking about what you feel most comfortable with and learning how to communicate that to someone else.
Right. So like if you just started dating someone, you might not be okay with sharing your location right away, or maybe even your password right away. But if you are, like, that's okay, but we just want to make sure that your motives are right.
Yeah.
And why you want to share that or have them share it with you. Like it can't be out of jealousy or like insecurity or something like that.
Next is physical boundaries. So this is one that like most people think of when we say boundaries, like we're talking about relationships, anywhere from holding hands all the way down to sexual activity. You need to be making these decisions for yourself. And especially as a teenager or a young adult with lots of other people around you, it can be hard to actually figure out what you want and like tell, am I being influenced by other people? Is this expected of me? Like, why am I making these decisions? So number one thing is we want you guys to be able to be honest with yourself and learn how to vocalize what you're comfortable with in a relationship. If you're trying to delay or wait to go further with someone you're dating, then you need to set practical boundaries. So for example, maybe you choose not to hang out super late at night and like laying in the same bed together. Things can heat up kind of quickly. Okay, so like just think of these boundaries ahead of time to prevent yourself from getting into a situation where it's harder to say no and stick to your boundaries.
This next one is social. How often do you want to hang out? Like some people, especially when they first start dating, want to hang out with the other person like every single day. And if you're not comfortable with that, it's totally fine. PDA. Are you comfortable holding hands or cuddling in public? Do you have expectations about them hanging out with other people one-on-one? Or like maybe talking to exes or still hanging out with an ex, you know? Kind of be like that sometimes.
And it's okay if you're not okay with that, right? That's the point. Talk about it.
Right. Know what you expect and set that boundary.
Number 4 is emotional boundaries. So rewind to the beginning of the video, late night talking vibes, okay?
Harry Styles.
Okay, so I know I personally have been in a place where I have given too much emotionally to someone, whether it was a friend or like someone I was talking to or dating. And that can be especially hurtful sometimes when you share a lot with someone and then things end, or maybe you found out you couldn't trust them. Like maybe they shared that info with someone else. So emotional boundaries kind of help prevent you from getting too emotionally invested with someone that you don't actually have a commitment with. So examples of emotional boundaries is maybe not talking about certain subjects right off the bat. So maybe there are things that you've been through in life or things that you're struggling with. You shouldn't talk to everyone about those things. Like those things should be left to the more important relationships in your life.
And the people that have earned that trust.
Exactly.
Our next one and our final one is financial. This one means like who pays. Maybe you guys take turns paying each time. Maybe one person pays more because they make more, or maybe neither of you pay because you're a broke college student or you're a high school student that has no money. So that's important to communicate to your partner that like, hey, I won't be paying for things because I'm broke. So to wrap up this boundaries conversation, we think it's important to remind you that it is okay for boundaries to look different for different people and in different relationships, friendships. It's okay.
And they can change over time too, right? Relationship that's been going on for 1 month probably has different boundaries than someone who's been dating for 2 years. They should reflect your trust and commitment towards each other. There's a lot more that we could say about boundaries, like how to assert your boundaries, what to do if someone breaks your boundaries, stuff like that. So if you have more questions about boundaries, I want you to do 2 things. 1, put your questions in the comments. And then the second thing I want you to do is check out our Instagram because we make a lot of posts that have to do with boundaries. We have some like memes and videos and other relatable content about boundaries and relationship things. So check it out. And we'll see you later.